About half of Americans have some sort of preventable chronic complications that are typically related to poor eating patterns and lack of physical exercise, aka obesity. According to Dr. Karen DeSalvo, a doctor in the Surgeon General's office, quote, in fact, more than a third of adult population in the United States is overweight or obese, and these rates are continuing to rise, end quote. The USDA, or the United States Department of Agriculture, which deals with developing and executing federal laws related to farming, food, forestry, and rural economic development, they stated in a letter regarding obesity, although, quote, although high costs in health, social, and economic terms are known to be associated with obesity, end quote. Alternatively, a large chunk of people are not as privileged as those who are able to go to the gyms and afford healthy food. With all sorts of diets becoming fads and others becoming plain ridiculous and expensive, psychology is also important within this. Studies have shown that the more stressed you are, it is harder to lose weight. Obesity is a rising issue in the US, and there are several things that go into that unhealthy realm. But it is a privilege to be fit as you are and able to afford proper nutrition and training. Moving on, the problem is obesity, and it is a growing issue in today's society. People are almost incentivized to make poor eating decisions. They are incentivized to buy cheaper foods in stores, which taste better, look better, and cost less. Ultimately, it's a trap. This puts people in a real predicament. For example, you're looking at egg waffles. They definitely are going to look a heck of a lot better than, let's say, vegan protein waffles, which might be healthier, but at the end of the day, they're also probably $5 a pop compared to $5 for 40 Eggos that will last you for however long. And now moving on to gym memberships, they are $40 to $50 per month, depending on where you go. And then with the initial fee, they can cost around $800 a year. And it almost incentivizes, again, people to not pay for any of these futures. And obesity is just all around bad news, and it traps people due to societal pressures and many other factors. Now on to the cause. Obesity grew rapidly in the 20th century and can bring several issues and complications with it, including depression, self-esteem issues, and other psychological distress. According to the Center for Disease Control, or the CDC, which concerns itself with national health, they say that, quote, obesity-related conditions include heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and certain types of cancer that are some of the leading causes of preventable premature death, end quote. This can come from genetics and is also based on the person's surroundings and community actions. Another key thing that the CDC mentions is that, quote, it can be difficult for children and parents to make healthy food choices and get enough physical activity when they are exposed to environments that do not support healthy habits. Places such as childcare centers, schools, or communities can affect diet and activity through the foods and drinks they offer and the opportunities for physical activity they provide, end quote. Obesity can alter a person's whole life, perception of wealth and fitness, ability to purchase healthy food, and gym memberships. Let's combat this issue together. There are several ways that obesity can be combated, and we the people are the ones who can make it happen. We need to make it so everyone has an equal opportunity to be fit, and we are onto something. According to Dr. Karen DeSalvo, Affordable Care Act requires most health plans to cover obesity screening and counseling for adults in accordance with this recommendation without charging a copay or other cost sharing, end quote. This is a great starting point. People have to want to change, and we need to educate the people on the risks that they could be putting themselves in if they do fall into this obesity trap. We can educate parents and children by putting everyone in a positive and healthy environment where they are incentivized to buy healthy food and not junk, and are able to exercise at a reasonable price and enjoy it all at the same time. In conclusion, obesity is an issue due to many factors that can range from genetics, unhealthy eating, peer pressure, and many other conditions. that brings several diseases such as cancer, heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and many more. That's pretty scary. We can change society, however, to make healthier foods or healthier alternatives that are more accessible to anyone regarding price, as well as gym membership pricing, so that way everyone is able to exercise freely. We can educate people on why they need to stay clear of these dangers and explain that obviously no one wants any diseases and you need to eat healthier so that way you can live longer and enjoy your life more freely. The USDA could gather some money and make a class that everyone has to take that educates people on how to avoid obesity, find healthy and cheaper alternatives as we talked about previously, and then provide cheap gym memberships or possibly lower all prices down so that way it's more accessible to the public. Obesity is the issue, and we have the tools to combat this growing issue. So let's go out and educate people of the risks they're putting themselves in and provide them with the adequate, cheap, healthy meals with an at-home alternative or cheaper gym membership.